If there's a lot of sunshine, then tradition says that the groundhog sees a shadow, gets scared by it, runs back into his hole, and we have 6 more weeks of winter weather.
Mm-hmm.
But in this case, it's an overcast day, there's no sunshine, doesn't see a shadow, and that means that early spring weather will be on its way. And it, again, has nothing to do with the season, other than the spring weather will soon be on its way. Maybe not today, and maybe not in a few days, but eventually it'll warm up sooner than we thought it might. And Dunkirk Dave is pretty much accurate with his forecast. Well, we've got a groundhog here that isn't interested in going back in the hole, so it looks like we're going to have early spring weather.
This is the guy.
Looks like we're going to have early spring weather. And you say, yep, early spring weather. Yep. Early spring weather. Groundhog Day is the on the calendar, the 2nd of February. It marks exactly winter's midpoint. So we know we're over the hump now, and now we've just got a little bit more to go, and we're halfway through the winter season, and we'll see how it comes out. Yeah, the Groundhog Day thing started when I was a young boy. I always was interested in taking care of sick and injured and orphaned wildlife, and I would take some home and try to nurse them back to health, and I was successful quite a bit at a time. And so I began to do that, and I enjoyed it, and I felt like I gained something in helping an animal that would otherwise be dead, so it made me feel important, and I liked doing it, helping other things, and so I thought, well, this is a great thing to do. I just enjoyed everything that went on with groundhogs, and then when I went to school, I continued to have groundhogs there, and one day Lenny Catalano, the custodian, said, well, you're a good idea if you tell the Evening Observer you're doing this to compete with Punxsutawney Phil. It would be a lot of fun because nobody else is doing it. So then I said, okay, notify the Observer, come down and take a picture, and they decided, there were 2 editors who decided, it's on the website, and they made the decision to name the groundhog Dunkirk Dave. So the Observer, the local paper, named him, and then we were the first groundhog to predict the weather besides Punxsutawney Phil. We were the first one that they called the Pretenders to have a groundhog predicting the weather other than Punxsutawney. And then other communities and states decided to start doing that too, to put their towns and cities on the map. And so other groundhogs have been popping up. And the second longest predicting groundhog is Dunkirk Dave. And so he started to do it, and we started to do it back in the 60s, and no one else was doing it at that time. So that's our claim to fame. And now today, this is the first time we've had a picture in the Wall Street Journal and an article in there about Dunkirk Dave. I understand. I haven't seen it. But that's a pretty nice honor to be mentioned like that in a worldwide magazine, or newspaper, I should say. And so we're sort of proud of that of all the groundhogs that they could have chosen, they picked us, maybe because we're the second most well-known of all. And it puts Dunkirk on the map, and I think that's kind of neat too. Been something that's been very enjoyable, and the media comes down all the time and takes pictures, and we make a lot of fun out of it, and drink a lot of coffee and donuts, waiting for the groundhogs to come out of their hole, and it's a lot of fun. Yes, in Punxsutawney, what they do there is they have a group of men that I've read about who check all of the weather forecasts on the radar and into the long-range forecasts, and so they try to find what's the best thing for them to say is the forecast of Punxsutawney Phil, and they have their mind made up ahead of time so that they can give the most accurate prediction, but it doesn't turn out that way. Dunkirk Dave is still more accurate than Punxsutawney Phil, and we just go by the way the tradition dictates and have the groundhog on the ground by the hole and waiting to see if the sun is up or not. They considered Dunkirk Dave to be a pretender and not really an accurate predictor of the weather. But they've always been saying that. But it's a lot of fun to do it, and they know that we're more accurate than they are.
Is there a level of competition there?
Yeah, I would say so. We always say we're more accurate. They always say they're more accurate. And but as I say, they have never ever put their groundhog on the ground. Never, not once. It's always held up in the air like this, and then they say, "Oh, the groundhog says this or that." So we don't even know if the groundhog saw his shadow or not, and we just have to judge by what they say. And they've had cases down there where there's tremendous sunshine in Punxsutawney, and they say, no, there's no sun. And they get away with it. Nobody complains about it, but it's not the true forecast. Well, as long as people want to hear what the groundhog here in Dunkirk says, we'll be doing it. As long as Charlie comes down with the live truck for Channel 7 and keeps reporting on it, we'll keep serving coffee and donuts and making everybody happy, seeing the groundhog come out of the ground, and a lot of people are anxious to see what he says. And we are too, but we always like to see if he's going to be accurate, and so far it looks like he's keeping in line and keeping his 90% accuracy.